Alright, so what we got going today? A few things. Just got off work, come to the garage, and I got work. So this is what I've been working on right here. It's my buddy's hood. It's got a gang of imperfections. I've already sanded it a bunch of times, so just hit it with some sandable primer, and then I'm gonna sand it down and see what it looks like after the fact and see how much I really have to Bondo and skim coat and blah 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 blah. Not mine. Then over here, this is the project for today. This is the weave I'm going to use. The issue I'm having is trying to figure out how in the world I'm going to make it over this hump. Oof, don't want to snag it. We're going to do this in a couple pieces, probably. Because this isn't normal 2x2 twill. This stuff does not want to fold in any direction, really. So it's looking like maybe I'll just paint this area and then carbon fiber everything else. Regardless, this is going to get covered, but there may not be any carbon fiber here. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Let me get set up and I'll be back. Alright, back at it. Now I've kind of got the first coat on before I lay down my carbon. I kind of got a game plan. Don't know if it'll work, but we'll see. Nothing wasted, that's for sure. But got this mixed up. Gonna get this put on, get it nice and even so it dries even. I don't know if there's some kind of oil coming out of the dash or what, but it's got some kind of weird reaction. But I'm gonna let it get tacky and then put some more on, then go from there. To be honest with you, how this thing is coming out, I might not even want to put carbon on it and save it for something else. But we'll see. We'll see how this comes out. Alright, so we got the carbon fiber on. We got the second layer of epoxy set into it. This seam I couldn't do anything about just because the lengths I had of this carbon, but maybe I'll put something there or something over it before I really start layering this stuff in. But it's coming together. Work in progress for sure. Alright, day number 2. This is how she's looking. I put way too much resin in this thing, but I had a problem with it actually adhering to the leather that was under it, because I didn't take the leather all the way out, because if I was to do that I wouldn't have much shape to this. It'd be a lot smaller than what it actually is. So this right here, I haven't decided whether or not I want to patch it or just, like I said before, make a termination line here on both sides and then just make that bottom half black. Don't know what I'm doing here. Gotta make something fancy to cover this line, but it's gotta be thick enough so it's straight. At least you kind of have an idea of what it'll look like. And then up front here, this is where I'm gonna have to lay a lot of epoxy or cut this out. I might just cut this out. I don't know how that's gonna look, but got a lot of little spots. I don't know. So it kind of sits up. It's not really adhered to anything. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. When I go to sand it, once I get this thing really full of epoxy, this might be a pain in the ass right here if I don't cut this out, because there's a vent that goes all the way across right here. So I don't know. Gotta brainstorm a little bit and figure out how to not save this thing, but finish it out so it looks right. sanded as we can get without getting into the carbon. I actually had to sand more than I was supposed to because of how much resin I put in when I first laid this down. It was too much. It shouldn't be this shiny right now. Yeah, so that's where we're at with it. And I should probably get started putting some resin on this. Alright, let's do it. Got my resin mixed up already. Don't fault me if I'm doing this wrong. I have no idea what I'm doing. That's why this is not a how-to video. Maybe my brush strokes are too heavy, too light. I don't know. That's why. I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot of low spots, some high spots, but we're gonna spend some time building this up without letting it dry completely. Do maybe 3 or 4 layers with a tack time in between, and wait for it to get tacky, and then lay another coat. Wait for it to get tacky, then lay another coat. Never let it dry if you're gonna do it like that. So if you let it dry, you gotta sand it every time. Nobody wants to do that. You want to see your parts finished already. I know I do. That's another thing too. If you got like carbon laying around, watch your brush, because the last thing you want to do is put your first thick coat on and put a strand of carbon right in the clear, or epoxy I should say. It won't look good. I don't know if it's me or what, but I feel like I'm getting a lot of bubbles. But I'm sure I missed a step. That's alright. So, work in progress, just like me. So, put down a coat. Got her kind of glassed out. Probably doing this wrong, but it's working. Whatever bubbles aren't coming out is probably a bug, which would be shitty. But if you're close to this, drippy. Drippy, drippy, drippy. I think it'll come out nice. I mean, I'm not a professional, but I think I'll like it. Alright, so last coat of the night. Keep getting bugs in this damn thing, so we'll see how it looks when I get back to it. It may not be tomorrow, but we will see. It'll be next clip for you guys, but maybe a couple days for me. But not bad so far. This thing has definitely been a mission, and it will continue to be a mission. I just gotta make sure I keep the bugs out of it. But next time we work on this, we'll be sanding it and then going for our next 3 to 4 layers of epoxy and going from there. And we're back. Another day of doing this. This is what she's looking like right now. I believe this is what, day 3? I work on this thing for maybe an hour at a time, so not much gets done in a day. I probably have maybe 4 hours into this, maybe a little less. But not bad. Still got a lot of work to do. But right now, all this stuff right here, I'll have to take it off and trim it and get it all down, because now I'm going to really start layering it. Before I do that, I got to sand this down so the next layer of epoxy will take and adhere to this. I've got probably 4 layers on here right now and a giant puddle right that's sitting right there, so I gotta be conscious of how much more I put there. I tried to fill this area and it just kind of kept falling in here, so I'll sand this real good here, sand this slightly here. Oh no, imperfection. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I got a little strand in here. Like I was telling you, you don't pay attention to the little strands falling in or what's on your paintbrush, you'll definitely have those problems. Not bad. I'm not a professional, so don't fault me. Like I told you before, this seam line, I got plans for this, so I might actually cover this now and then proceed with covering this in epoxy. We'll see. Alright, so I made some progress sanding, but I don't know if you guys can see the ripples. There's a bunch of ripples in it. That ripple is from the material itself. So if we look at this material, it kind of takes the same shape as this to where it boxes out. So until I get enough epoxy on it, it's going to have all those little pockets. So I'm going to sand it as much as I can. And then if I start getting too low, I got to start with more epoxy. So this is kind of the reason why I laid so much epoxy to begin with. So I'm going to keep sanding, try to get those little areas down this as much as possible. All the little pockets and stuff like this. Can't really do a whole lot about it, but I'll do what I can. Alright. So you can see it's a million times smoother than what it was. Just washed it a couple times. Needs to be washed again, but with acetone. And then I can start relayering it again. It got kind of low right here. And got some of what was dry epoxy inside the hole, so it was white inside the carbon, so I had to wash it a couple times. So yeah, not bad. I got a lot to trim. I really should be retest fitting this again before I proceed, but you know how it goes. This I still have to cut. This I have to fill, but I think I'm going to take it from this line all the way over like this. Paint it black. Pull these studs out. Get all this crust out of here. This line, I got it as flat as possible. But it's not 100% flat. And not a bad transition. But like I said, I'm still going to pinstripe this area. A little design to it. But I'm pleasantly surprised. Still got a lot more work to do. Alright, I really want to make this my last coat. If it dries looking like this, with no runs or major bubbles that may pop up after I leave, then I will wet sand this with 500 if it has little pinholes, and then go up. Other than that, I'll start with like 800, then 1,000, then 1,200, and then clear it, and then, yeah. And go from there. Now this is clear coat. This is pretty much the final product. This black part down here, I'm not worried about the runs of epoxy and stuff like that, because you won't see any of that. There's a bunch of covers that go over that. But I'm happy with it. It still has its imperfections, but I'm happy with it. This is not bad for my first one. Alright, so excuse the cluster in here. It's definitely a clusterfuck, but dash is in. Got these little gaps around the side because that's all I could do getting it through the cage. But it's in. I don't know how well you can see it on camera. It's definitely in there. I'm by no means a professional, but this is a 100% improvement over what was in here before, so I think it's cool. You guys should try to do your own parts too. I encourage that. So this pisses me off really good. Got this thing all in here, and the clear coat decided to take a shit on me. What the fuck, man? This shit looks horrible. I have to pull it back out. So this is me mixing clear coat 4-to-1, and our hardener. I went 10% over just because I feel like it might need more. So get ready to spray this in a minute. I'm gonna do my best to shoot this with you. Here's another video of me clearing it. This time I cleared it with the gun. It'll definitely come out better with the gun, but I was trying to be cheap about it. Put the dash in the car, and the clear coat melted off of it. It's just a single stage clear, so it doesn't really dry that hard. I left it for like a week and it still melted off. So we'll try it this way. Pulled her out into the sun after making the repairs. That's what she's looking like right before it's gonna go in. So leave it out here for a few hours. See how it takes the direct sunlight. And then we'll put it in.